Planetary Meditation. It's wonderful to see you here today. If you just got here, we just finished our newcomer introduction video, the video that we show 15 minutes prior to the start of Planetary Meditation. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a moment. Screen. All right, so like I just said, we start our planetary meditation 15 minutes prior so that we have a newcomer introduction video. And it's a video for anybody that's new or anybody that just enjoys listening to Dada. Then we have a short welcome, followed by kirtan, which is chanting meditation, and we use the Bhavanam Kevalam, followed by guided meditation, and then we'll have an inspirational share, and then some time for any kind of questions and a little bit of open conversation. So here at PLT, we are an inclusive community. We want everyone to feel welcome. We have people from all over the globe and people from all different parts of their path and their meditation. So we like to start our online open events with this quote from Sri Sri Anandamurti. It is our duty to accelerate the speed of human progress. Your endless efforts to broaden and smoothen the path of human movement will render our present existence and your future history inestimable. So again, we just want everybody to feel welcome. We're really happy you're all here, and we hope that you enjoy today's event. So today, we are going to, this week on our platform, on our community platform, and within, we're going to be talking about how to develop intuition. And tomorrow we're going to have a really dynamic, exciting workshop about developing intuition. It's going to be the part 4 of the future of intelligence. So today we have Dada Nambahanda talking to us, and I was going to read this quote before we start our mantra of meditation today, and something that you can kind of hold in the back of your mind. So this is everything moves, this earth moves, the sun also moves, and along with this, the entire world. Nothing is stationary, everything will have to move. So those who are staying in this world will also have to move with this moving world. And where they will go, and where will they go? What is their goal? They have to come back to Parama Purusha, the supreme consciousness, from where they came. So he is the starting point. He is the originating point, and he is the culminating point of all creatures. Thus, there lies an inherent tie of fraternity among human beings, among the living creatures. You're all spiritual aspirants. You're all devotees. You're all going to be one with the Creator. You should remember this inherent tie of humanity. Try to help others as much as you can, because it is a desire of the providence that all will march onward with maximum cooperation. And if you move along the path of righteousness with the spirit of universal fraternity, victory is yours. The blessing of Parama Purusha, supreme consciousness, is always with you. So I think it's a very powerful something to hold on to. So again, we really appreciate all of you being here today, and I am going to now pass the mic to Dada Nambahanda, and he's going to play some live kirtan, so some live chanting meditation, followed by some guided, followed by silent meditation, and then he will share an inspiring talk with us. So enjoy, and thank you.
Greetings, good morning, or at least it's early morning here in California. So I'm going to sing this Bhavanam Kevalam mantra for a little while, and then we're going to meditate together. So just remember the meaning behind the mantra. It translates as only the feeling of limitless love. So we're connecting to the source of love within ourselves. We're focusing the mind inward and tuning into that feeling. So just close your eyes, sit straight, and you should have your microphone off, but I do encourage you to sing, because singing actually improves our breathing. It kind of forces us to breathe diaphragmatically, which is a more full breath using the whole lungs, and it oxygenates our blood and helps concentration, and it does many good things. So you can sing along if you like. No one's going to hear you unless you've got your cat with you. So just close your eyes, and we'll have the kirtan for a little while, the music, and we'll go to meditation. Now keep your eyes closed and remember to sit straight and breathe through your nose. Now let the mantra Bhavanam Kevalam continue in your mind with the music, as though you're hearing it. Let your memory play it back to you like a recording, and you're just listening. Then feel that this mantra and the music is coming from within you, as though your inner self was singing to you, and you are just listening. And if your attention wanders at any point, don't worry, that's quite natural. But if you notice that, just bring your attention back to the mantra and the music. Now begin to feel that this inner voice that is singing to you is drawing you inward to the place where the love comes from, deep inside you. And as you come to that place, you find that you're surrounded by this feeling of love above and below you, all around you, within you. That's all there is. And this feeling has no limit, it has no boundary. So just remain in this place of limitless love, with the mantra and the music continuing in your mind. And we'll meditate like this in silence for a while. Now just take a deep breath. You can stretch a little if you like. And open your eyes. I'm sure some of you have read a very special book. It's sort of a children's book, but a lot of adults love it. It's called Alice in Wonderland. Lewis Carroll wrote this book, I don't know, 150, 200 years ago. He wrote another book, Alice Through the Looking Glass. They're kind of surreal fantasy stories, and they're brilliant. But he wrote another book which is not so well known. It's called Sylvie and Bruno. Now, Sylvie and Bruno are two children, brother and sister. Sylvie's the older sister, Bruno's her little brother. And they are the children of the fairy queen, or king rather, the fairy king. Their mother was the fairy queen, but she died. So their father is the king of the fairies. So he can do magical stuff, and they live in a sort of magical world. But they also live in the normal world. And in this story, they go back and forth between these two worlds. Now, at one point, it's Sylvie's birthday. I think she was turning 10, something like that. Her little brother's 5 or 6. She's turning 10 years old, and she's there with the father, the fairy king. And all the fairies are gathered, and it's a big celebration because the king's daughter is having her birthday. And the fairy king offers Sylvie a gift. And he says, I'm going to give you a choice of 2 special gifts, and they're magical gifts. And you can choose just one of them. Now, these were magical amulets, so it's a kind of a, it's a magical symbol. But and you can pick one of them, and each of them has something written on it. So she read the first one, and it said, all will love Sylvie. It was written on it, and you could hang the amulet around your neck, so it's something to keep with her. She thought about that all, and she has to choose between the 2. Now think for a minute, if you were given such a choice, what would you choose? So Sylvie thought about this very deeply. Of course, she wanted everybody to love her. Everybody wants people to love them. But she also thought, maybe it would feel better if I loved everybody. And maybe some people will love me. So she chose that one. She chose the amulet that would give her the power to love all. And her father was very pleased. He said, Sylvie, this was a very wise choice, especially for someone so young. And I always remembered this story. I thought, okay, that felt right to me. It makes sense to me, but why? Why is it a greater thing for us to love all than to be loved by all? And what I concluded is that when we love others, we experience it directly because it's coming from inside of us. So we actually have a closer connection. We have a direct experience of this feeling of love. And of course, if you love all, then you love us. We're not we experience indirectly. There are ways that people treat us or speak to us or just be with us that, okay, we can feel that, yeah, they probably love me, but it's not direct. We're not experiencing it so intimately. So that's one thing I thought. And also I thought, okay, there are some people that a lot of people love, but they're not necessarily happy. I mean, the famous singer Michael Jackson once said that, and he was, millions of people loved him, probably hundreds of millions, world star. He once said, I think I'm the loneliest person in the world. So being loved by a lot of people is not necessarily going to solve your problem of finding happiness and fulfillment. But people who seem to love all, the great saints and, yogis we hear about, and maybe Jesus or St. Francis or Buddha or these great people, they seem to lead pretty fulfilled lives. So to me, this seems much more interesting. I would definitely rather be Buddha than Michael Jackson. Let's put it that way. He had a bit of a sad life, really. Super talented, no doubt, but that's not really what I'm looking for. So I thought about that, and I hope you like Lewis Carroll's story. And if you haven't read, especially Alice Through the Looking Glass, it's an amazing, I guess it's a kind of spiritual story, but Sylvie and Bruno is really a deeply spiritual story. I do recommend it. Not that many people have read it. So that's all I'm going to tell you today. We might have some questions later.
Thank you, Dada. That was a fantastic story. Yeah, I do want to open it to some questions. So we can use the Menti, our menti.com. I believe Shita can share the link and the code in the chat. Let me put it to the screen. We'll go full screen. All right, we have one question. How can we find happiness, Dada?
Well, the simple answer is, first think, where does happiness come from? I'm not the first person to point this out. Happiness is not contained in external objects, or even people's own happiness is contained within them, but your happiness, the only way you can get access to it is internally. Okay? Now, like all people, sometimes you and I, we feel sometimes happy, sometimes not so happy. But there are certain things that you'll notice make us temporarily happy. For a little while, you get something you want, you feel at least pleasure. And there's a difference between pleasure and happiness. Happiness is more lasting. Pleasure tends to just be the result of, it's a very temporary thing. You got something you wanted. But happiness is a feeling that can continue because it's generated from within you. It's not just a reaction. So a couple of things I'll say. One is you can find happiness by learning how to go to the source of happiness within you. And that's certainly what I've experienced through many years of meditation, kirtan, and following this spiritual lifestyle. But the other thing I want to say about happiness is that according to psychology, and this is one of the things that pretty much all the psychologists agree on, which is not that common. There's lots of schools of psychology and there are many debates, but there is a general agreement that once you become an adult, you establish what they call a baseline of happiness, or a default level of happiness. And that is your kind of normal state. And of course, it fluctuates. You know, sometimes something happens, you get a promotion at work and you feel happier, or your friend comes to visit you and you feel happier. But we kind of come back to that level. And even if something bad happens to you, you get sick, or you injure yourself, or you come back to that level. And it's remarkable. And this is true across all cultures, all different types of people. We establish this baseline of happiness. And it was considered to be pretty much unchangeable once you become an adult. But then now they've discovered, this is not a new discovery, but in scientific research, it's a kind of rediscovery. They discovered that the one thing that can shift your baseline of happiness, or your default level of happiness, is meditation. Some kind of contemplative, inward-looking, regular practice has been shown to increase your baseline of happiness through life. And it's the only known way of doing this, according to psychology. This isn't from the yogis. This is from psychological research at the University of Los Angeles and many other very reputable institutions. So for me, that is an enormous discovery, or as I said, a rediscovery, because people that practice meditation have known this for a long time. But science has confirmed this, you can say. So we've got another question here. What's the difference between happiness and joy? I don't really know. When I think, so I'm just going to make this up, all right? I don't have a deep philosophical answer for this. But I feel like joy is something spontaneous, and it's got a lot of energy. It's like, and again, tends to be quite temporary. It's not a bad thing, but it's got its limitations. Whereas happiness I see as something more that pervades the mind. It's like it's just this general feeling, and it can continue. You can just feel like that all the time. Joy to me seems like something which I'd love to feel, but it's not something that I would imagine feeling all the time. That's my take on it. I'd love to hear another opinion, because that was off the top of my head. We might have some comments in the chat here. Hang on, let me have a look. What do we got? Oh, okay. You like the thing about the baseline of happiness? It's really cool. There's I follow a lot of research into meditation because I find it very useful for convincing people who are skeptical. Does this really work? What difference is it going to make if I sit there and close my eyes every day for a while? What's the big deal? But especially in the part of the world where I live, it's kind of like science is the local religion. This is what people believe in. So if you can use that to validate this practice, I think it's very useful.
Dada, do you think a happier world or happier people would lead to a better world?
Yeah, because so why do people behave sometimes in harmful ways to others? Why do people hurt one another? Usually it's because they're afraid, perhaps, or they're unhappy themselves. They're not, people aren't mean to one another if they themselves are content and happy, usually. So I absolutely agree that if and I don't think it's always true, but generally if people are happy, they're going to treat other people in a better way. Sometimes if someone kind of gets angry with you or attacks you, and and they're criticizing, saying all kind of stuff that's probably not true, right? And you're thinking, what's going on here? And you think about it, you realize, oh, it's actually all in their own head. This is their problem, and it's not really about me. So that's very common. So they're attacking you because they're unhappy. It's nothing to do with you actually most of the time. So, yeah, I think it'd make a huge difference. Oh, this is interesting. There's a comparison chart between happiness and joy. Oh, wow. I'm going to check that out. Thank you. That's a neat little contribution. That's from Corinne Crunius. So get
Yeah,
it.
and then Karun also wrote the Dalai Lama and Nelson Mandela. I've co-written the Book of Joy. I've read it. It's fantastic. It's
Oh,
about
are you
what
sure
you
it's the
would,
Dalai Lama? I think it was Desmond Tutu.
I think it was Desmond Tutu. Yeah. It's about what you called happiness. Joy or
Yeah,
happiness is
so
deep inside and long lasting. Pleasure is short term.
okay, so they're equating joy to pleasure, perhaps, but I
Yeah.
think they're different. just, just to make it more complicated. But no, sorry, it was the Dalai Lama and Desmond and Bishop
Desmond,
Desmond
Yeah,
Tutu.
yes.
I think
Okay.
you're right. But no,
Fantastic book.
they were saying joy is that deep happiness that
Oh, okay,
something
that's
bad happens to you, you're approaching life with an attitude of joy. Um,
that makes sense.
yeah,
Okay, so pleasure, yeah, pleasure is clearly a short-term thing, but joy and happiness they're more or less equating. Okay, so maybe a better answer for me would have been that they're actually more or less the same thing. That actually makes more sense. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Dada. That was very insightful.
Well, I learned something new.
Good. That's always powerful. All right. So I would love everyone either in the chat or on the Menti to put one or two words that they're feeling right now. So you can use either the chat or the Menti um, to share with all of us how you're feeling after meditation, after hearing some inspiring words from Dada and thinking about your own happiness. So give everybody a few minutes. Again, the link is in the chat. There we go. Joy and happiness, love. And you can also use the chat if you're not able to get onto the Menti. Give everybody another, let's see, we've got either joy or happiness, sure, not sure now. I like that, Donna. Joyful. How to love someone who hurts you.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's the test. Again, one key is to really try and understand that the reason they're hurting you is probably because they have been hurt. And so they have some pain inside. So the antidote to this feeling of resentment or anger if someone's cruel to you, the antidote is compassion. So if we really understood what most people are going through, everyone has problems. Everyone's suffered. Everyone's got some little trauma or big trauma, maybe from childhood or maybe from later in life. So if you can understand that, then naturally we feel compassion. And if you can feel compassion, even for someone who hurts you, it kind of resolves it. You feel, okay, they've got some pain inside and they're just expressing it. It's not about me. So I think that can help. And of course, brahmacharya. So seeing that the person that person is actually the divine appearing before you to see how you react and what you can learn from that experience. So that's the kind of more overtly, specifically spiritual way of treating that. So the first idea I mentioned is more psychological. The second is more a spiritual practice. Both can help.
We also have in the chat, I have a Mona Lisa smile on my face right now. Another one
Well,
wrote, I'm
the Mona Lisa.
happy and love and Bhavanam Kevalam. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you,
Mona
everyone.
Lisa is famous for having a mysterious
Yeah,
smile,
it's true. Yes,
which is very hard to interpret.
I know. But we've got enlightened, love, joyful, hope, joy, gratitude. It's wonderful. So thank you, everyone, for sharing. Happiness, joy, pleasure. That's what the person that had written, Maya Tree had written about the Mona Lisa smile. She said happiness, joy, and pleasure. So that's what
well,
that's what her smile represented.
now
So
we know the meaning of the Mona Lisa smile. This is a great revelation.
that's
People have been debating it for 400 years, and now we've got
I
the
know
answer.
we've solved it here at PLT. So fantastic. All right. Thank you, everyone. So before we say goodbye today, I just want to remind everyone that we do have a live active community, our PLT global community. And last week we talked about food security. This week we'll be talking about how to develop intuition, especially after our workshop tomorrow. And it was great this week. We had some great, powerful conversation about things that were happening within our own communities regarding food insecurity and some solutions. So love to see more of you active there. And also tomorrow there'll be some exciting news to share and about a new something that's happening next year in 2022 for PLT. And we'll be using our global community platform for that. So again, take a moment today if you have time to navigate it, check it out. All our recordings are also there. And so anyway, we'd love to see more of you. And speaking about developing intuition, tomorrow we have Future of Intelligence Part 4. And if you haven't seen Part 1, 2, and 3, all the recordings are available on our community platform under courses. And you can go, there's a course called The Future of Intelligence, and all the recordings are there, plus some supplemental reading that Dada added. So again, take some time today to check it out if you haven't seen the first 3. And if you haven't, just come to tomorrow, same time as Planetary Meditation. I'm really excited. Dada is going to be interviewing Dada Rajananda, and I think it's going to be a very exciting conversation. And this will be the last part, right? Final one.
Yeah, though I've now got an idea for part 5, but
Okay,
we'll do that next year.
Sounds good. So yeah, so everyone's welcome. Workshop is for free. So if you think somebody that might be interested in it, especially in what's happening in the future, it's been a really exciting series of workshops. So please invite your friends, invite your family, and we definitely hope to see you there. And thank you for being here today. Thank you, Dada. Thank you for our translators. And we just appreciate all of you guys within our community. And I believe on that concluding note, I believe Ishito will launch a poll so we can get some feedback from you. And we'll see you tomorrow.